Mother says you can't hear anyone half the time, but it's half deaf. Well, good morning, everyone. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Mount Isa City Council Ordinary Meeting. The time is 9 a.m, and I now declare the meeting open. Mount Isa City Council would like to acknowledge the traditional custodians of the land on which we meet, the Kalkadoons, and pay respects to elders past, present, and emerging. Just like to start off by reading out our recording of council meeting policy. Please note that this ordinary meeting of Mount Isa City Council may be live streamed and recorded in accordance with the council's recording of council meetings policy. As a visitor in the gallery, your presence may be recorded. By remaining in the chambers, it is assumed your consent is given if your image is inadvertently broadcast. Okay, we have, would anyone like to move the motion to accept the councillors who are teleconferencing in at the moment?
I'd like to move that we accept the teleconferencing of... Sorry, is there wording there, is it?
Yep, we need someone to move the motion. Yep. Sorry, I didn't hear that.
Sorry, if there is a motion to me, is there a written motion for...
Oh, sorry, I didn't realise that. Sorry. Okay, I'll move the motion that in accordance with Section 277 of the Local Government Regulation 2012, the following participants will be taking part in the meeting via teleconference and will be noted as in attendance. Deputy Mayor Phil Barwick, Councillor Peter McRae and Councillor Mick Tully. Would someone like to move that motion?
Move.
Thank you, Councillor Stretton. Would someone like to second that motion?
Seconded.
Thank you, Councillor Fortune. All those in favour? And that's carried. Could I... Thank you. Could I ask Councillor Stretton to please provide us with a prayer?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Lord, let the light of your divine wisdom direct our deliberations and decisions and shine forth in all proceedings and acts of the Mount Isa City Council. May we seek to preserve peace and harmony, promote well-being in our city, and continue to bring the blessings of good government in this area of our responsibility. Lord, grant this prayer to us who work for the common good through Jesus Christ our Lord. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Councillor Stretton. Would someone like to move the following apologies, leave of absence? And the motion is to be moved is that Council accepts and notes the apology of Councillor Kim Coughlin. Would someone like to move that motion?
Move.
Thank you, Councillor Stretton. Would someone like to second that motion?
Seconded.
Thank you, Councillor Fortune. All those in favour? And that's accepted. Thank you. I will definitely do that. Thanks for the reminder. Okay, so this is the time when we suspend the meeting for and allow people in the public gallery to participate. I now invite anyone in the gallery who has any questions or would like to speak.
Good morning, and thank you for letting us here. The first question I have is regarding a letter to Parliament. Oh, let me stand up. The first question I have to all the council is we were told at the council workshop on the 1st of December that the Mount Isa City Council would send a letter to the Queensland Premier in regards to the challenges we face in this region. We would like to get an update on the status of this letter.
Hi, Katrina. When we left you on Wednesday, we actually didn't leave you with any details of what we were going to do. We actually said that we would discuss that, and that's where we left it with yourself, Annika and Garth.
Well, we were under the impression that you guys were writing up a letter for us and sending it to the Premier.
Okay. So when you left, you asked us if we would put a motion through at a council meeting, and after you left, we did discuss it at a council, and as a council, we're still coming to some kind of format that we're all comfortable with, or what we do next.
So has the letter been written?
We didn't make any commitment to yourself, Katrina, or Annika, or Garth about a letter. So at the moment, we're still discussing it within the council.
So you haven't you haven't made a decision. A letter has still not been drafted or sent yet?
And Katrina, I don't really want to say too much more on the subject of the letter. When we left you, we said we would discuss it as a council.
Right. So we have nothing to go forward with at all.
We will definitely write to you with an outcome of what council decision is.
And when will that be?
Well,
When can we expect that?
as soon as we've made an agreement as a council.
Okay, and would that be, can you give us a time frame on that? Please?
Well, that's what we've been trying to do for the last probably 10 days, is come up with a final decision.
And is there something difficult about that? Like, it seems to be a simple situation of if the council are happy with a letter written, can't we get that done? We're going into, the time is of essence. We're going on to tomorrow, Friday of the 17th of December, and we don't have the support of our Mount Isa City Council for small business. This is the question that we want to know. Do we have the council support going forward on the 17th of December when our lives are going to be turned upside down? And we don't know if we have your support. And this letter is not about, yes, the letter to the Premier is one thing, but this letter shows us that we have support from the Mount Isa City Council. And at this stage, we don't. And we don't know. So that's how important that letter is to us.
Katrina, when we left you on the 1st of December, we said we would discuss it as a council, and that's what we're keeping to that commitment. We are doing that. And as soon as I have an answer for you, I will definitely convey that to yourself, Annika and Garth.
Great. So we'll be expecting that before the 17th of December.
As soon as we've made a decision as a council.
Right. Okay, so today's public meeting, can you actually put out there that the discussion will be made today and the public can know?
Look, I realise how frustrating this must be for you.
Well, it's a decision to be made. You know, like, you guys are all here. A decision needs to be made. We need to know if we've got the support of you guys come the 17th of December for us. It's that simple.
It seems that simple, but as a council, we have to agree, and we have to be comfortable with anything we put forward. And that's what we're resolving to do at the moment. Now, I definitely feel for you. I really do. I feel for all the businesses that are in this position. And there's no doubt that these are going to be trying times for us as Mount Isa people. And I'm reaching out to everyone and saying, you know, we need to be considerate, patient, kind, and we are all in this together. I want us all to support each other. I don't want us to draw a line in the sand and be split as a community. So, you know, if I can help in any way, I would love to, and I really do understand your frustration.
Yep, so the help that we need is for you guys to make a decision as soon as possible, times of essence, so that we can know that we have the support of Mount Isa councillors and the Mount Isa mayor. That's what we need to know. Going forward, to open those doors on the 17th of December.
Thank you.
And my next question is that now you've signed the small business charter, we'd like to know the plans that you've got in place to support our businesses. Now is the time that we actually need the help. Over the next few days and weeks, what support have we got now that you've supported, you have got this small business charter?
Well, that's a great question, and that's one of the questions I raised with the Minister and small business when they were here, is how can we help small business next? Now, there are a lot of councils already well into this, and we're hoping to definitely copy with some of the things they're doing, and we're happy to come up with new initiatives. But, you know, our commitment definitely going forward, and there's no doubt small business in Mount Isa and probably all over Australia at the moment is really hurting, and they need the support of councils and their community.
So we have no plan?
We have no plan, but we have made the commitment, and I think that's important because now we've got the commitment there, we can come up with a plan. And of course, we're not going to tell you what's best for you. We want to work with small business to find out what's going to really help.
So one of you guys, so one of the actual representatives of this charter will be coming down and having a chat to us in the next couple of days on what we need as a support for small businesses going forward for the next.
So what we've done as a council is we've employed a manager for economic development, but we've also employed a economic development advisor, and I think that's on a 2-year contract or something like that. But the whole point is definitely to help the business community and also Mount Isa. So that's where we're going to be reaching out, and it's just an unfortunate time that we're 2 weeks off Christmas, so there's not a lot going to be done between us signing that charter and the new year. But we're going to hit the ground running in 2022 because it's signed, we're committed, and we want to help.
That doesn't help us for the next couple of days. Do you understand what I mean? Like, you guys had known that. You know that these mandates were coming in. We need the help, we need the support, and we're just wondering over the next couple of days and in between the next week before Christmas, any support that we need from this charter that you guys have signed, can we get in the next couple of days?
So the charter. So I guess what you're asking is about the mandate rather than
No,
the
we're actually after help. We need support. We need help in the next couple of days. And is there a possibility of a representative to come down, have a coffee with us, and ask out what the issues are?
Katrina, I can find out for you. I
That
can
would
find
be
out if we can do that. I know that there's at least half a dozen businesses that may be affected by the mandate, so I can find out if that's even an option, so I can let you know about that.
That would be great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for allowing us to attend. My first question is very similar to Katrina's, and that was basically at what point would council intervene, and what sort of assistance would be offered if small businesses were to close or suffer financially under the mandate, particularly due to the recent commitment to supporting small business under the Small Business Friendly Council Initiative. And as Katrina mentioned, obviously the mandates have been proposed since the 9th of November. And so that's quite a time to plan. So we're just wondering whether the council had any plans for any economic impacts that result from this.
At this stage, we don't have any plans. I know the state and federal government have put forward a lot of options. As part of that, they have a 35-minute 2-module TAFE course that sort of outlines a lot of things that are going to happen within the mandate. If you get on their website, there's a lot of questions for businesses that they can answer. So that it's pretty, they do answer a lot of the questions that have been posed to council recently. I know that in the past, especially in 2020, the state government and the federal government were fantastic in supporting small business. And I know there's a lot of businesses that are still operating today due to the support they got from the state and federal government. And I can't thank them enough, because I know that there would have been a lot of businesses close their doors without that support.
And so can our local council, because obviously we are run off our feet trying to work out what we're going to do on Fridays, is that something, because navigating the state and federal websites and information is quite hard. So if there's straightforward information that you guys are aware of, is that something that we can get through Mount Isa Council?
I can definitely get put up on our Facebook page, and also we can contact Rob Catter if you like and see if he has any extra information that we don't as a state representative for Mount Isa.
And the second question was, are there any extra grants and support which have been discussed to be made available to the community and sporting groups through the council to make up for the loss of revenue which will be resulted from the small businesses who are being mandated?
I guess that's at the moment there is no plans, but obviously with COVID, state, federal, even local councils have to be agile with making decisions on how to help the community, and we certainly are having lots of conversations on how we support sport. Obviously, again, small business is important to us, but the whole community is important to us, and as a councillors, that's what we talk about, is how we can support the community. But I'm happy to have a look on, again, we can get someone to have a look online and see what else is available that you might not have picked up, and we might reach out to Rob Catter and see if there are things out there that maybe you haven't picked up that are available.
Yeah, so if that's all the support that the Mount Isa Council can give us, because we're obviously not getting a backing of support or anything in the next 2 days by the sounds of it, if we can get something through, that would be...
I might even reach out to some of the other councils because at the moment I don't believe this is a roller council, but if another council is actually providing some kind of support, maybe we can have a look at what other councils are doing. But again, we can get back to you on that. No, Garth? No. And we did have a question from Garth Apps, and he is a representative of the Buffalo Club, so he isn't here today, but I will read out his question just so the councillors are aware of what he wanted to ask. And the question was, would council support a specific approach on how the restriction could be used in the area rather than the state directive, how it is written that it is requiring patrons, staff and the moral fabric of the community being compromised? If an alternative arrangement was available to enforce and health officers. Put simply, can we fine-tune the directive and how it's enforced that doesn't put a burden on small business staff to the police or the state regulation or be fined? Okay, and the second question was, what is the council and community response if a case has been detected in the area, and would it involve any further cooperation from community groups or industry? Okay, so we, as a council, we do have a COVID plan, and we have been working with Queensland Health, also the local disaster management group and the district disaster management group on this plan. And we also have done a workshop basically with a test case of if COVID was detected in the community and what the next steps were. So are we prepared? I wouldn't. We're prepared as best we can be. We've ticked all the boxes, and we were hoping we've done enough. But of course, we won't know until COVID comes to Mount Isa. The other question, it really does. This question really does go to Rob Catter. It is a state government. It's a health directive. It isn't local government, and I'm not sure if that has been posed to Rob Catter or to the Queensland State Government. But some of these questions really should go to Queensland State Government. What I will mention is that as of the 17th of December, the mandates will come into effect. Mount Isa City Council's library will be available to people who are unvaccinated, and the Mount Isa Town Pool splashes will be available to people who are unvaccinated. We're also putting IT staff in the library, so anyone who's struggling to manage MyGov and connect it to the Queensland check-in app, we'll have support there and assistance for you to try and help make that a bit more smoother for the transition. Again, it's going to be difficult times for not just Mount Isa, but for the whole of Queensland. And I think I just want to remind everyone that, you know, we're all in this together. We're all doing the best we can. No one knows how to manage a pandemic. And, you know, the main priority of this council is that we keep residents of Mount Isa safe. So thank you for your questions today. I really appreciate you taking the time to come in, and we will endeavour to try and get back to you in a timely manner about some of those questions. So thank you so much. Okay, so we are having some technical difficulties with our online stuff, so we're sort of reverting through to paper and online. But would someone like to move the motion that we accept the minutes of the ordinary meeting held on the 17th of November, and the motion is that the minutes of the ordinary meeting held on the 17th of November 2021 be amended to correct the GST in item 12.5 Buchanan Park Absolutions Block to 940,148, excluding GST, as reflected in the body of the report. Would someone like to move that motion?
I'll move that motion.
Thank you. And would like someone, can I get a seconder for that motion?
Second.
Thank you. All those in favour? Thank you. Now, we haven't moved the minutes of that meeting, have we? That's not moved, that's only accepting that motion. It's not declaring the minutes of the meeting. Accepting the minutes of the meeting? Yeah, it did? Okay, terrific. Thank you so much. Okay, which takes us to item 6. Okay, so item 6 is actions from previous council meetings, which is nil. Item 7 is declarations of conflicts of interest. Does any councillors have any conflicts of interest that they need to declare at the moment?
Neil.
None.
Thank you.
Nil.
Thank you. And item 8, Merrill minute, nil.
She may emerge on the screen at some point. Councillor Coghlan, sorry if I wasn't speaking into the microphone. So it's probably, through Madam Mayor, it's probably best to keep going until she actually comes on board,
Okay,
if she does.
Okay, so I'll just read out the motions because I'm assuming everyone's having difficulty getting the paperwork, and then I'll just ask if anyone wants to move and second. So the next one is 9.1, the correspondence report.
Sorry, Madam Mayor, were there any conflicts of interest?
Everyone said no.
Okay, sorry, I didn't.
We all indicated no.
Yeah, no, sorry, that was, I think Councillor Coghlan was coming in at the same time, everyone was saying no. So 9.1, which is the correspondence report for November 2021. The motion is, the recommendation is that council receives and accepts the October 2021 correspondence report. Can I get a move for that motion?
I'll move that. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Fortune. Can I get a seconder for that motion?
Second.
Thank you, Councillor Stretton. Anyone wants to speak on behalf of this motion?
Yes, I would. Thank you, Madam Mayor. I'd like to say on my behalf as a councillor, I'm very disappointed with the lack of due diligence, I would call it, in drafting the letter that our small business people have asked for. I think there's been sufficient time with input from councillors, given that it's been more than 5 days, and there was a commitment from yourself to the councillors to have a response last week, and it didn't come through. Very disappointed for our small businesses, very disappointed as a councillor, where a commitment was given to myself and other councillors, and for one reason or another, it wasn't followed through.
Thank you. I'll respond to that.
Sorry, through Madam Mayor, you normally go to the second.
Oh, sorry,
Next.
there you go.
And sorry, can I just, through you, Madam Mayor, can I just confirm, you're still supporting the motion, though, the council receives and accepts the correspondence report?
Yeah, so I'm supporting that motion. I'm just disappointed, as I said, that the letter that was asked for and councillors gave input to was not followed through.
It's okay. Through you, Madam Mayor, I just had to clarify that you were still supporting the motion.
Yes,
that's
still
all.
supporting the motion.
Yeah.
No further comment.
I'll reply to that. So on the 1st of December, we had 3 businesses come into Mount Isa City Council and asked if we would move a motion that we did not support the mandate that was being introduced on December 17th, 2021. We left those businesses with no no indication of what we were going to do other than that we were going to discuss it as a council. So for those businesses to have an expectation is really disappointing that someone may have give them information outside of that meeting. There's no doubt I'm really disappointed with that. And, you know, we did ask for everyone to give input, and 7 days later, I hadn't received any input. And when I finally did get a letter from one of the councillors, they weren't able to verbally read it aloud. So then I had to wait another 24 hours to get a copy of that, putting us right back into last Thursday. And then we haven't been able to come to a decision as all councillors on what we wanted to see going forward. And that's why there isn't anything to be tabled today. So I'm disappointed on a lot of factors myself.
Okay, so on the 9th, when you gave a commitment to get back to councillors, the next day,
Do you really want me to say why I
that
didn't?
didn't happen.
So what happened was I hadn't received the letter from a councillor who had drafted up the letter, but it was online. The contents someone had put on the Facebook. Someone sort of had information that went on Facebook about what the contents might be.
Okay, so I didn't see those things on Facebook, and I really don't want to talk about Facebook, but you had the contents of the letter and agreement from councillors on the 9th of last week.
So what we agreed on the 1st was not what the letter was looking like on the... and again, the councillor in question could not read her own handwriting, and I did not know what the contents of the letter was until 10 o'clock on Thursday, when someone already had posted online what they thought the contents of that letter was.
Again, I didn't see it online, but there was a draft in front of you on the 9th. And there was from the 9th till this time, there's been no movement on the spirit, I suppose, of the request from...
Again, Councillor Fortune, we agreed this on the 1st, and by the 8th, no one had got back to me.
That's right. On the 9th, someone did. And from the 9th to this day, there's been no resolution. That's what I'm disappointed in.
Well, what I will say is that
I'm disappointed
the
for our
email
local
was sent
businesses because there was an
on
expectation.
Thursday morning, and I didn't have 5 minutes spare Friday, Monday. So again, from the 1st to the 8th, there was no response from councillors, and I don't think we really need to air this in public. But I'm standing strong on this. I'm not. I asked for a response in a timely manner, and there was none given.
Okay, so from the 9th till today, there's been no movement. So there was expectation from our local businesses that there would be a letter.
There shouldn't have been any expectation. We left them with no promises.
There was a draft from the
No,
councillors.
we did not leave them with any expectations when they
Okay,
left
so
that meeting.
Put the expectation of our local small businesses aside. There was a draft with agreement from 5 councillors that...
But
Sorry.
we agreed on
Sorry, a
1st of
draft?
December
That
on
was-
an outline of what we were proposing to say, and
Okay,
then it got
moving
changed.
on from the 1st to the 8th of December, I'm going to the 9th of December, which is a critical date because you had written confirmation from councillors about the content of the letter that the councillors wanted drafted, and
We
there's
had a
been-
councillor add something in there that we didn't agree to on the 1st. And that,
Well,
that-
quite simply, a right to information will find out how much time people had to go through that letter and draft and
please
send
do,
information backwards and
because
forwards.
I would like to know,
Look, for the purposes of the motion...
please do, because I didn't receive anything till 10 o'clock on Thursday, just gone, when every councillor was asked on the 1st of December to give comments.
Oh, look,
So
a
the
right to
9th,
information
the
will find
9th,
out-
no councillor had sent me anything.
A right to information will find out whether it's
Please
the 9th
do.
or 10th, and if it is the 10th,
It's the 9th. It's
today's-
Thursday,
okay.
10 a.m. on the 9th.
today is the 15th, and there's been no movement. But going back to the recommendation, I've moved the motion there, and I've expressed my disappointment at that part of the correspondence not being in there. It's been seconded, and I guess we can go to a vote. now that the debate's been had. As a mover, do I have right of reply?
You do, but it'd
Yep.
be important, it's just with the technology, I'm not sure if any of the other councillors, through you, Madam Mayor, wish to make comment. But, did you, Councillor Tully, did you have your hand up?
You're still muted, Councillor Tully.
Yeah, sorry, David. No, I was just, I'm in agreement with Councillor Fortune. I mean, I think it's taken too long, to be, I mean, we're either for the small business or against it. I mean, it's not difficult as far as I'm concerned. And yeah, I mean, that's my position on it.
So, through you, Madam Mayor, yes, if you want to go back to the right of reply from the Deputy.
So, so I'll just go back to the motion. I've moved it and expressed my disappointment that that correspondence that the majority of the councillors wanted to go in there hasn't been dealt with in a diligent manner.
And my right of reply is that
Sorry,
you
through the
had
chair,
9 days
the mover has
where you
the last right of reply.
where you didn't respond to myself, and now you've given me 4 days
Pardon me?
to be comfortable with something that someone else has put forward.
Ample time for due
4
diligence.
days? Well, you couldn't get a
Ample
comment
time
in
for
9
Due
days.
diligence for our small business
You didn't give me a comment in 9 days, and now you're saying that I have to make a comment in 4 days. When again, there was stuff added that we never discussed on the first, and we all said we'd all be comfortable with what was added.
So, through you,
Sorry.
Madam Mayor, are you moving the motion as is?
Yes, move the motion as is.
All right. All those in favour? And that's carried. Do we have Councillor Coghlan in here?
I don't know where.
Okay. Takes us to the executive reports. Would someone like to move the motion? And this is for 10.1, update of Code of Conduct for Councillors version 5. Would someone like to move the recommendation that Council adopt the Code of Conduct for Councillors version 5?
Move, Marley.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Can someone second this motion?
I'll second it.
Thank you, Councillor Stretton. All those in favour?
Sorry.
Oh, sorry. Any comments on this Code of Conduct? Sorry about that.
Yeah, I think this is a formality, just bringing the policy forward and I know there's no changes to it at the present time. Yeah.
Yes, through the chair, completely agree with Councillor Barwick. It is version 5 and there have been no changes to it. Certainly a formality in getting our policies up to date.
Okay, that takes us to item 10. Oh, sorry.
To vote on it.
Sorry. All those in favour?
Yeah.
And that's carried. That takes us to item 10.2, update of Council accept to request guidelines version 5, and the recommendation is that Council adopt the Council accept to request guidelines version 5. Would someone like to move that motion? Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Would someone like to second that motion?
I'll
Tully.
Tully.
Thank you, Councillor Tully. Would anyone like to speak on behalf of this one?
Yeah, it's a similar thing, Madam Mayor. Through the chair, I know that items 5.3 and 5.4 have been struck out, but they appear to be mostly cosmetic because it's contained in 5.1, so there's no significant changes to this policy from the previous iteration.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments? Okay, all those in favour? And that's carried. And that takes us to item...
Yes.
Good wait.
Okay. Item 10.3, and this is the 21-22 Annual Operations Plan First Quarter Update. And the officer's recommendation is that council adopt the 2021-22 Annual Operational Plan First Quarter Review. Would someone like to move that motion?
I'll move it.
Thank you, councillor Stratton. Would someone like to second that motion?
I'll second that.
Thank you, councillor Fortune. Would someone like to speak on behalf of this one?
Just a bit of background information. It is a requirement of the Local Government Regulation 2012, Section 174, that the next step in the corporate planning process is for officers to translate the goals and objectives set by council in their corporate plan into the operational plan.
Thank you.
Yeah, through the chair, the plan maps out the actions and responsibilities and the performance measurement of our operational plan, and that across our corporate plan gets our corporate plan moving along.
Thank you, councillor Fortune. No other comments from anyone online?
Just a question, Madam Mayor. I note that the plan expires June 22, so there'll be a review conducted on that. I imagine, is that the case?
Yeah, through the chairs, there's reviews right over the right-hand side of the document for the layout. So there's due dates in there for 2022.
Could you hear that, councillor Barwick? Yep.
Yes, I did. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, if there's no more comments, all those in favour? Okay, and that's carried. And that takes us to um, 10.4, which is the endorsement of the proposed local law number 8, control of intoxicating liquor 2021. So the motion is that council endorse proposed local law number 8, control of intoxicating liquor 2021, being progressed to state interest checks. Would someone like to move that motion?
I'll move that, thank you.
Thank you, councillor Fortune. Would someone like to second that motion?
Second, Barwick.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Would someone like to speak on behalf of this motion or comment?
Yeah, I'd like to, I think everyone knows the issues that we have with people on council land accessing to alcohol, and the environmental hazards and also safety hazards that comes along with that. And I'll just read out, I suppose, a part of that, and it goes to the purpose of a local law, and that's to protect the health and safety of persons using or accessing local government controlled areas, and regulate the consumption and carrying of intoxicating liquor in a local government controlled area. And I think that's an important step for Mount Isa City Council to take, and to take control, I suppose, of the environmental issues and the behavioural issues that we have on our local government land.
Thank you, councillor Fortune. Any other comments on this one?
Yes, thank you through the chair, Madam Mayor. I think this policy coming in, it gives us a little bit more clout in relation to this aspect of public drunkenness and liquor being used. So I support the only qualification I would have is that on page 8, number 1, the use of force to remove the liquor needs to be probably clarified a little bit, if I could ask the CEO to do that. Because I guess we're going to have staff that are essentially put in position where it may not be that accepted.
So through you, Madam Mayor, I think I hear you, councillor, but you broke up a bit through there. This is in relation to the advice from King & Co, I'm guessing that you're asking. Is that what you were asking?
Thanks, CEO. So page 8 of that particular policy, on page 75 of the paper, point 8, number 1 is the use. There's a mention there of the use of force or to engage help to use force to remove the liquor. So I'd just like to have that clarified as to what council's role or the council officer's role is in that.
So through you, Madam Mayor, this would actually give the council local laws officers the power to actually do that, which is the genesis of the report, so to speak. So this is about testing a local law which needs to be signed off by the state government that would then give us the power to undertake those duties in cooperation with other agencies as well.
Through the chair, Mr. CEO, I think the deputy was more relating to the capability and ability and training around our people. Correct me if I'm wrong, Deputy Mayor.
Through you, Madam Mayor, we're not up to that bit yet. Once we get this through, then there naturally would be training and everything else that follows.
I think
there.
that's the gist of the deputy's question. If he can correct me if I'm wrong.
No, that's correct.
Sorry, I just want to get an understanding if that's what the question the deputy was asking.
Deputy Mayor,
Through the chair.
were you asking about the capability of local laws?
Through the chair, yeah, it was just about clarification on the council officer's role in the use of force to remove liquor in those places.
So through you, Madam Mayor, in the majority of the cases where we were doing this, we would do this in conjunction with a police patrol. That's exactly what currently occurs at the moment when we go down to do a clean-up at the dinner camp or fix up other areas at the same time. So we do that with the police, which allows them a tip out. The police there can do the tip out. It may be that this local law therefore allows us to do the tip out subject to the appropriate training and everything else. Does that make sense, Deputy?
Yeah, that's fine. Thanks very much.
Okay, so if there's no other comments, all those in favour? Councillor McRae, Councillor Tully?
Yes, I put my hand up.
Sorry, I didn't see it. All right, and that's carried. Okay, so the next one is 10.5, which is a proposal to use council reserve land for trial growth of spinifex and other plants. So the officer's recommendation, actually this is council's direction is sort of on this
Through the chair, I don't have it on my agenda,
No, I don't have
that
it
item.
either.
Through the chair, don't have it.
Okay, maybe I am on docs, so maybe that's why it's just an old one.
Moment.
Yeah, sorry, through the chair. I'm having some trouble with the agenda as well, so I don't know what's happening with it, but
Hasn't come through, you, Madam Mayor. It hasn't come through. In the agenda, we had some issues with the program. That report is finished. I might just ask, do you have it there? The Spinifex, that's closed. Yeah. But that one's not
Through the chair, Mr. CEO, I think we've all had an opportunity.
In docs, but it's it's ordinary meeting, but it's and the final agenda, but I don't know why. It's the final ordinary. There's the right one. Sorry, I just.
Yeah, that's.
It's okay. We were having difficulty with docs, and I sort of was hoping I'd got it working, but obviously it's playing up still. So I will check with you before I start reading things out now.
So, Madam Mayor, if we go to 11.1.
Yep. Okay, so this takes us to our corporate and community services reports, and item 11.1 is the economic and community development overview report, October and November for 2021. I'll hand over to Councillor Fortune.
Sorry, through the chair, what, are we 11.2?
11.1.
Sorry, it's
11.1?
11.1, it may be the Deputy Mayor.
Yeah, all right. So I'll give the Deputy Mayor an
yep.
opportunity to
Sorry. Deputy
respond
Mayor,
to
have
his
you got this
portfolio.
on your, have you got access to this?
Yeah, I'm fine with it. I'm just trying to find the pages, Madam Mayor, if you can bear with me for a sec. What page is that of the papers, please?
80 or 82, something like that.
Okay.
I've got 80.
80.
Yeah.
Yep, I'm just getting there now. Thank you very much.
See, I've got 82. That's with that extra report. Sorry.
Okay, thank you for your patience. I'll move that council receives and accepts the combined October and November 2021 Economic and Community Development Overview Report.
Seconded, Fortune.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor, and thank you, Councillor Fortune. Deputy Mayor, would you like to speak on behalf of this motion?
Yeah, sure. Thanks, Madam Mayor. Look, Julie, like Economic Development Manager in Council, it's great to see all this, activities coming together. There's also mostly Council Crow's portfolio. She may wish to comment going forward on some of this, but some of the economic development items are being raised. Quite great. Really appreciate the activity in that section. I'd just make a comment. I really look forward to which I see is planned in the corporate plan. You're seeing that take place.
Through you, Madam Mayor, Deputy Mayor, you may wish to turn your video off because you're breaking up just consistently.
Okay. Okay, yeah. So, look, I'll hand that back to the floor. Thanks very much. I think I've made enough comments on it, but really happy to see that support. I think. Thank you.
I didn't hear anything of that.
Well, he's handed it back to the floor.
Oh, has he? Okay.
Yes.
Councillor Fortune, would you like to speak on behalf of this motion?
No, I'll just support what Councillor Barwick says.
Okay.
Whatever. it was.
Councillor McRae, any comments on this one, as a lot of these are sort of in your portfolio?
No comment from me.
Okay, so there's no comments. All those in favour? And that's carried. And that takes us to item 11.2, which is a Corporate Services Overview Report, October and November. The officer's recommendation, actually I'll hand this over to the Deputy Mayor.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I'll just the recommendation that Council receives and accepts the October November 2021 Corporate Services Overview Report as presented.
Thank you. Can I get a seconder for that motion?
Seconded, Fortune.
Thank you. Would you like to speak on behalf of this, Deputy Mayor?
Yeah, thanks, Madam Mayor. Look, we to council from the community, so it's operation. On top of that, we have 500 cases that are logged.
Sorry, through you,
Pretty
Madam Mayor, Deputy Mayor, it's really not working, and I don't know if it would be more appropriate. I'm just worried that people on Facebook or watching the YouTube won't be able to hear most of this.
Appreciate it.
Sorry?
I appreciate
Through the chair, it'd be probably best if he just goes off video and just goes back onto voice and just keeps his comment short. That's a recommendation from
Okay,
myself.
I'm happy with that. Do you want to try that, Deputy Mayor?
Who's done that?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, that was short. Councillor Fortune, have you
So
got
look,
any
I can
comments?
speak to a bit of the statistics coming out of the report, Madam Mayor. The calls are over 2,000, close to 2,200 in October, and very close again to 2,100 in November. There's over 1,100 emails received in October and 1,400 in November. Letters received 203 in October and 280 in November. There's a lot of correspondence coming through, a lot of calls coming through to council. The Deputy Mayor has spoken numerous times on the amount and quality of work our people do in that area, and are continuing to do. Water and sewerage in October, there's 114 calls in October, 98 in November. Local laws, revenue and waste management also receiving over close to 80 to 90 calls as well in October. And in November as well, as up to 145 calls for revenue in November. Could go on for the rest of the report, but I think we'll just leave it there and take it to the vote.
Thank you. And if there's no more comments, all those in favour? And that's carried. Okay, so that takes us to item 11.3, which is the Library Overview Report for October and November of 2021. I'll hand over to Councillor Peter McRae.
I'd like to move that council receives and accepts the October and November 2021 Library Overview Report as presented.
Thank you, Councillor McRae. Can I get a seconder for that motion?
Second.
Thank you, Councillor Stratton. Councillor McRae, would you like to speak on behalf of that motion?
Yeah, I would. I'd just like to make note of a heritage grant that the library was successful in achieving. The Community Heritage Grant from the National Library of Australia was $6,000. It will be used to obtain a significance assessment of the Mount Isa City Library Historical Collection. Once the significance assessment is completed, we'll be able to apply for other funding from the National Library for our collection.
Thank you, Councillor McRae. Any other comments on this?
Through the chair, just a number of transactions you see on the statistics. There's close to between 5,300 and 5,700 transactions over October and November. That's a huge number of transactions our staff are dealing with over at the library, and goes to show the popularity, I suppose, of using the services through our town library.
Thank you. And my comment was, I actually got stopped by a resident in the street and basically said that they had gone into the library and they had received help from not just library staff but also from council IT staff on helping set up their MyGov to connect to their Queensland Check-In app. And the lady said it took a long period of time, and the staff were absolutely amazing, and she said she actually wanted to go out and buy more present because she was so grateful for the service she got. So I just want to basically shout out a big thank you to our IT staff and in particular to our library staff as well. So thank you very much for that. It's good to get that sort of feedback. If there's no other comments, all those in favour?
Yep.
And that's carried. Okay, that takes us to 11.5, which is a financial overview report for November 2020. 11.4, sorry. I've jumped splashes. Can't miss that one. Okay, so 11.4 is Splash's overview report for November 2021. And I will hand over to
Deputy Mayor.
the Deputy Mayor. If that works.
Yeah, can everything okay?
Is Coghlan on?
Through you, Madam Mayor.
Can, can everyone hear me okay?
Yeah,
Yes.
yep.
Yeah, okay, thanks. I'll move the council receive the September 2021 splashes overview report as presented.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Can I get a seconder for that motion?
Second.
Thank you, Councillor Stratton. Deputy Mayor, would you like to speak on behalf of this motion?
Yes, thanks, Madam Mayor. I'll just turn my video. Yeah, so the report outlines the to date income and expenditure on splashes. I note that there is a lot of activity down at the pool, but it's still a substantial cost to council, as most of these assets are generally in councils. There has been upgrades down there, which has proven very, very successful, and also, as I said, the activity that's there is great. So it's good to see. Thanks very much.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor.
No further comment, Madam Mayor.
I guess I heard that we've got some items in customs. I'd just like to know whereabouts they're up to.
My understanding, they have been received in Brisbane. I don't have particular date at this point, except to say, I believe at this point I was told before Christmas, so I'm expecting beginning of next week.
Yeah, and for those who are wondering what I'm talking about, is we have ordered some huge inflatables to go in the town pool, and we're hoping to have them in the pool by Christmas. And we know there's some challenges with the family fun park being closed and a few things still being done. So we're hoping that this will sort of bring some more joy over the Christmas period.
Yeah. Okay, through the chair, just a comment there, and I think it's important that the community realises that the cost that is actually to council and to the city is currently in the month of November. The actual is $104,000 and 143 cents. So that's important, I think, for the community to know that the pool doesn't run out of profit. It is there as a community service, more or less. And it's great to see the participation, and great to see the community taking advantage of that asset that council does have. But the community needs to know that asset needs to be upheld too as well. So just a note there for community interest.
And actually, I just thought we were having divers come. Have they already been and gone, or are we still expecting them?
Through the chair, yes, the divers are due in January. Because of the COVID closures, etc., and obviously being close to Christmas, there has been a delay. The person that we have engaged is from Victoria, so they will be coming in.
Terrific. And we were also putting in more seating. Has that been?
It's already been done.
It's done? I need to go down there then and take my kids. Thank you. That's great news. All right. So if there's no more comments, all those in favour? And that's carried. Okay, so that takes us now to item 11.5, which is the Finance Overview Report for November 2021. I'll hand that over to the Deputy Mayor.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I'll move that council receives and accepts the November 2021 Finance Overview Report.
Thank you so much. Can I get a seconder for that motion?
Tully.
Thank you, Councillor Tully. Deputy Mayor, would you like to speak on behalf of this?
Yeah, Madam Mayor.
Deputy Mayor, we can't hear you. Do you want to try turning your video off and see if we can just hear, if that works better?
Yeah, Madam Mayor, thank you. Look, given the connection issue, could I refer this to the Director of Corporate Services to just give us some detail on?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Through the chair, the operating position at this point is a deficit, but we had anticipated an operating deficit of about 600,000 in the budget, and our actuals came out a little bit higher at about 690. Our capital grants are lower than budget, but that's in line with our capital expenditure, which is a little bit under the target, but we're working through it. There's also an issue of timing with regards to the water dividend. Our current budgeting module just spreads that dividend across and doesn't take into consideration the timing. So that should come in around March next year, and will improve that position. So in terms of the capital summary, at the end of November, $9 million, and I know by today, checking today's figures, that's a lot higher, almost double. And we're going through a number of budget reviews, and we'll just take a critical look at both our operating and capital expenditure and bring that back into line. I also note the outstanding rates. We're really making some movement in the over 366 days. They're usually at the average of about $3.7 to $4 million. So we're making some action towards collecting all those outstanding rates. But the total so far, as at the end of November, in terms of outstanding rates, is $10 million, and we're working with community in collecting that. In terms of the key activities going forward, we had an Audit and Risk Management Committee meeting on the 13th of December, and we've prepared the financial statements for the end of FY21. So that will be presented to Council today for discussion and adoption. So unless there's any questions on the November overview report.
Thank you, Chair. That was a really good explanation of the deficit, so thank you so much for that. Does anyone else have any questions?
Just a question around the rates arrears. There is a external agency following up on the arrears. Yeah. Okay.
Through Madam Mayor, we're going to do some work with the government agency, but at the moment we're doing that quietly.
Okay.
Thank you. Okay, if there's no other questions, all those in favour? And that's carried. That's 11.5. So that takes us to 11.6, which is the sponsorship request from Zonta Club of Mount Isa. Who would put this through normally? The recommendation, and I'm not sure who wants to move this one, that, or Councillor Fortune.
Through the Chair, I'll move the recommendation that Council approve sponsorship in the amount of $5,000, inclusive GST, to be diamond sponsor of the 2022 International Women's Day dinner, subject to the following conditions. And there's conditions 1 to 6 in that table, so I'll read them out, I guess. First condition is through 1 to 5 is the pre-event. Number 1 is the provision of the latest audited financials within 1 month for council approval. Number 2 is provision of the organisation's incorporation certificate within 1 month of council approval. Number 3 is provision of the organisation's public liability certificate of currency. $20 million value is compulsory within 1 month of council approval. Number 4 is site plan setting out the existing infrastructure and the potential location of event components. That's within 1 month of council approval. And number 5, permits or landholders permission, example, venue hire permission, fireworks permits, etc., within 1 month of council's approval. And post-event, number 6 is completion and submission of council's sponsorship program acquittal report, submitted no later than 6 weeks after completion of the event.
Thank you, Councillor Fortune. Would anyone else like to comment on this one?
Yeah, through the chair, was this budgeted for? Because usually they put in with the rounds. I see that there was a reason as to why it didn't go in the normal funding rounds down there, because there was a change of committee and confusion with RADF. But is it actually budgeted? Because they didn't put it in, we've actually spent that money.
Through you, Madam Mayor, I believe there is still existing funds within there.
Thank you.
Through you, Madam Mayor, can we have someone second? please?
Second D.
Oh, did I miss that? Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, councillor Stratton, for that. Any other questions? All right, all those in favour? And that's carried.
Sorry, through you, Madam Mayor, if I go backwards, Councillor McRae, it actually has written down there, council has sufficient funds under the community grants and sponsorship to cover the requested amount, so that's okay. All right.
Thank you.
Okay, so that takes us to 11.7, which is the budget process for June 2023. 23, is that supposed to be 23? And I'm assuming this is the Deputy Mayor's?
Yep.
I'll hand over to the Deputy Mayor.
Okay, thank you, Madam Mayor. I'll just move the council accept and receive the budget process and timetable presented for the Mount Isa City Council for the year ending June 30th June 2023.
Thank you. Can I get a seconder for that motion?
McRae.
Thank you, councillor McRae. Deputy Mayor, would you like to speak on behalf of this motion?
Thanks, Madam Mayor. Yeah, so it's a formal adoption of the process of doing the budget, which needs to be completed late June 2022 for the 22-23 year. I think it's quite clearly outlined in the tables there what we're trying to achieve and the schedule and the timetables of feeding information into the budget. So, yeah, and that.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Would anyone else like to talk or comment? All right, all those in favour? And that's carried. Okay, so 11.8, the 11th of November 2021 Miners Memorial Advisory Committee meeting minutes unconfirmed. Would someone like to move this recommendation?
Through the chair, I'll move the recommendation that council receives and accepts the minutes of the 11 November 2021 Miners Memorial Advisory Committee meeting as presented.
Thank you, councillor Fortune. Would someone like to second these minutes?
Second.
Thank you, councillor Stratton. Would anyone like, councillor Fortune, would you like to speak on behalf of these minutes?
Good to see that our one of our advisory committees that's come up under our guidelines has got off the ground. Chair's been nominated and accepted. Honourable Tony McGrady AM was elected chair of the committee. The next meeting is scheduled for the 13th of January 22 to be able to provide more time to review quotes received from consultants regarding the concept and design of the memorial.
Thank you, councillor Fortune. Would anyone else like to speak on behalf of this one or comments?
No further comment from me.
Thank you, councillor Stratton. Okay, all those in favour? And that's carried. And that takes us to 11.9, which is the Local Government Sustainability Framework submission. Would someone like to move this motion?
I'll move, Madam Mayor. 11.9, Local Government Sustainability Framework Submission. Recommendation there is council receives and accepts Western Queensland Alliance of Councils, WQAC, Local Government Sustainability Framework Submission as presented.
Thank you, councillor Stratton. Can I get a seconder for that motion?
Seconded, Fortune.
Thank you, councillor Fortune. Would you like to speak on behalf of this motion, councillor
Just a
Stratton?
bit of background, Madam Mayor. Western Queensland Alliance of Councils has engaged Australian Economic Consultants Group Limited to develop the submission with input from working group drawn from across the 22 WQAC councils.
Thank you. Any other comments on this one? All right, all those in favour?
Madam Mayor,
Yep.
I'd just like to say there's a substantial piece of work on in here, and it does represent all those councils in the Western Alliance. Yeah, I fully support the submission. Thank you.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Yes, and there's 22 councils involved in the Western Alliance, and they're all Western Queenslander councils.
So through you, Madam Mayor, please be aware, councillors, that we put in a council submission at the last council meeting. This is a joint submission in there, and I don't know if the Director wishes to speak to this one a bit about some of the challenges we had about being a small, very small or medium-sized council.
Yeah, through the Mayor, most of the feedback from the ROC was with regards to resourcing, getting that support from the department just to roll this out. The key factor was training for the councillors, for audit committees, and for the staff to prepare for that change and what it means. There was also a lot of discussions around what was the appropriate ranking or grouping of these local governments, whether the population size was suitable or not. But I think generally there was an appreciation of the different factors that go into performance of local governments and the fact that it's being taken into consideration at last. So we also pushed for support around asset management, developing those forecasts for the long term to be able to present reliable data as well. So there was some concern as to whether that would, or the additional ratios would mean an increase in audit fees, because then the auditors would be looking at more and potentially querying more. And the other feedback was with regards to the amount of time that it would take staff to report on these ratios, so there is some concern there. So those are the things that we wanted the department to look into and provide additional support. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments or questions on this one? Okay, all those in favour? And that's carried. Which takes us now to item 11.10, the Queensland Resources Draft Plan Report, and this is for information only. Would anyone like to move the officer's recommendation?
I'll move through the chair that council approves the campsite management agreement's management fee be set at a peppercorn rent of $1 if requested.
I've got something.
Second.
Thank you. Any comments on this one?
I'll just read from the overview to give some clarity around it through the chair. Subject to Council Resolution OM 19921, a campsite management agreement for the Georgina River, Lakes Francis and Canellan, camping areas over land described as part of Lot 21 on Survey Plan 135293 has been prepared. To complete this document and to ensure that due process has been undertaken in regard to setting a fee, a resolution is required for the proposed management fee. Given that the campsite management area sits within an existing lease area which rent is paid over, it is proposed that the management fee paid to council be reflected by way of a peppercorn rent. A peppercorn rent is a token rent.
Thank you, Councillor Fortune. Is there any other comments on this one?
Through the chair, look, I think this is a good move. We've struggled with the management of that area for a long, long time, and I really look forward to seeing how this unfolds in operation. Thank you.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Any other comments on this one? Okay, all those in favour? And that is carried. Okay. Okay. Thank you very much. So, 11.11, which is the audited financial statements for 2021. Would someone like to move that motion, please? I'm assuming it's the Deputy Mayor? Or would he won't have this?
He does have it.
Deputy Mayor, let us know if you want another councillor to read that out.
Yeah, item. It's on a separate paper on my lot here.
Sorry, can you repeat that?
He's,
Councillor?
he's just describing it as a separate paper. It is supplementary.
I think it'll be on your email, Deputy Mayor.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, it's coming up. Okay, so I'll move the council formally receive and adopt the audited financial statement 2020-21 as presented.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Can I get a seconder for that motion? I missed that. Did we have a seconder?
I'll second that, Madam Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Stratton. Deputy Mayor, would you like to speak on behalf of this motion?
Yeah, just briefly, Madam Mayor, I'll mention it's been a lot of work getting to this point with the audit. We've asked for an extension and it was granted quite readily by the department. So it's good to see it come to fruition. We've had quite a good result come out of it again due to a number of changing circumstances, including the dividend from the water board and other aspects. I just might refer to the Director of Corporate Services again, just if he would like to mention in particular.
Well, through the chair, this was discussed at the audit committee on the 13th of December, and there was a recommendation that's been put forward for council to adopt these financial statements. But I think the key highlight is around the FY20 results that have been restated to take into consideration some movements with the revaluation and new assets that have been identified. There was also a prior year recognition of a provision for the landfill restoration, which was quite a significant item. But overall, in terms of total net result, ended up with 8.8 million. However, with regards to the operating position, just the operating results, we did go into a deficit of 3.4%. So that's something that we have to go back and see how we're budgeting our grants between our capital grants, our operating grants. The other observation, I've put some commentary around an analysis of the restated FY20 against these results and also against the adopted budget. And it's become pretty clear that we'll have to go through a process of remapping our employee and material costs within the budget so that they line up with what the expectations are from the audit. So in terms of the next steps, it's just for the CEO and the Mayor to sign these financials after adoption of the budget. But the feedback from the Queensland Audit Office is that they will issue an unmodified or unqualified opinion with regards to these financials. The other key highlight is that there is no significant deficiencies that will be raised as part of this. There is areas for improvement, and that has been issued to management. So we're working through a process of developing a plan to work on all the recommendations, but nothing that will be material in terms of reporting. So once all of this is complete, we should send all these reports back to Queensland Audit Office, and they will issue that opinion. Is there any other questions?
Thank you, Chilaya. Has anyone got any questions or comments from this?
None from me.
Everyone's good? Okay. All those in favour?
Councillor Tully, can you raise your hand if you're in favour? Closer to you. That's it, thank you.
Yeah. And Deputy Mayor, if you can just go make a yep, that'll be great. Okay, so that takes us now to item 12.1. Yep, should be back on track now. So we're back on 12, which is infrastructure service reports and water and sewage overview reports. So I'll hand over to Councillor McTully. Councillor Stratton. Sorry, Councillor.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. The office of recommendation there, Council receives and accepts the October-November 2021 Water and Sewer Overview Report.
Seconded, Fortune.
Thank you, Councillor Stratton. Thank you, Councillor Fortune.
Thanks, Madam Mayor. Just one great step for mankind here, I think, is the long-awaited smart water meter program commenced in November. of the first batch of 183 20 residential meters arrived, and installation began on the 29th of November. So that is great to see that project coming off after many years of sitting there.
Couldn't agree more.
Through the chair, all good things come to those who wait. I just wanted to see if I can get a bit of feedback, if I could, about the performance of the ones already installed. Is anyone actually using the technology, or?
Through you, Madam Mayor, I'll hand over to the Director. I'm aware we've had some positive feedback and some feedback that could be described as curiosity or other words as well.
Through the chair, yes, the meters being installed are just being installed. The first step is just the installation. The monitoring of those hasn't actually commenced as yet. So we have water meter reads occurring in December. So we will be, we've obviously got the read as we take the meter out, and we've got the read as we put it in. But the actual process in monitoring that hasn't commenced as yet. In relation to the CEO's comment, so there's been communication with residents about the rollout of the meters. There has been some residents concerned that we're targeting specific people. However, I'd like to reassure the community and the council that we are just going by specific routes. So the routes have been provided, or the meter routes have been provided to the contractors, and they're working to those routes.
Very good, thank you.
Thank you.
Sorry, David, just through the chair, I guess with the water meters and the allegation of us targeting people, I mean, if you're doing the right thing, you've probably got nothing to worry about.
Through you, Madam Mayor, we'll just keep moving on with the project, make sure we're doing appropriate consultation and go from there.
Thank you. Well done.
Thank you. I'm looking forward to getting a new meter, that's for sure. Thank you. Okay, so if there's no more comments or questions, all those in favour? And that's carried. And that takes us to the 12.2, which is the major projects overview report. And this one would go to Councillor Tully. Councillor Stratton?
Yep.
Sorry, Councillor Stratton.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Recommendation there is council receives and accepts the November 2021 major projects overview report as presented.
Thank you. Can seconder?
Seconded, Fortune.
Thank you, Councillor Fortune. Councillor Stratton, would you like to speak on behalf?
Yeah, just a bit of an overview. The Gallipoli Park pump track sealing has been completed. Landscaping is scheduled in December. Due to delays in delivery of steel for the toilet block and shade cover for the Ninja Park, these two components will not be installed before the school holidays. We've talked splashes there. We've already talked about the inflatables held up, but hopefully they should be here. Buchanan Park ablution facility and Kenwell toilet block located at the rest area has been awarded, and preliminary site investigation will commence in December. And the Family Fun Park concept designs will go out to public consultation early in December and close late January to cater for public being away for holidays.
Thank you, Councillor Stratton.
Through the chair, can I just ask about the soft opening of the Gallipoli Park pump track, about the accessibility and open times, just how will it work?
Through you, Madam Mayor, I'll go to the Director. The soft opening, as I understand, is simply allow people to start riding around the pump track. The areas that won't be there at the moment are the toilets, and the Ninja course has not yet been finished. So they're the key things outstanding. But the Director, if I'm...
Through the Mayor, that's correct. In relation to timing, I will have to double check what's actually being released to the community as to the time. However, the intention is just to make those other areas safe while the construction is still there. When we talk about soft opening, it's because it is a funded project. The final opening will be obviously to encourage the funding body to be present for that opening. So I will come back to council with the specific times However, my understanding is will be that morning, basically, it will be open. So,
Thank you. Thank you, because it's essentially still a construction site, and, you know, the concept of a soft opening is great because of the hold up in the construction materials, and I just want the public to have that knowledge about what can and what cannot be done there. So,
thank you, I'll work
for
on that.
everyone's safety.
Thank you, councillor Fortune. Okay, if there's no more questions or comments, all those in favour? And that's carried. So the next one is 12.3, which is the business continuity plan. Would someone like to read this motion?
Yes, through the chair, I can move that recommendation, that council approve the updated business continuity plan.
Thank you, councillor Fortune. Can I get a seconder for that motion?
Second here. Oh, Tully, Mr. Tully. Councillor Tully.
Councillor Tully, thank you. Councillor Fortune with...
Through the chair, I'll just give some of the background there. The business continuity plan, BCP, is drafted in accordance with provisions of the Local Government Act 2009 and Local Government Regulation 2012, Public Records Act 2002, and Mount Isa City Council's local laws, subordinate local laws, and current council policies. The BCP is approved by the Chief Executive Officer of the Mount Isa City Council as a strategic plan for the operations and procedures of council. The BCP operates in tandem with the disaster recovery plan for Mount Isa City Council's information, communication and technology stream, and local disaster management plan. The current BCP was created in December 2017, updated in March 2020, and attached BCP updated in August 2021.
Thank you. Can I get any more comments or, any more comments or feedback before we vote? Okay, all those in favour? Is that, sorry, I didn't see the people online. Sorry about that. Were you all in favour? Yeah, you saw them? Okay,
Yep.
great. All right, carried.
Yep.
Thank you, carried. Which brings us to 12.4, and mine is definitely not the right one, so let me just get it in front of me.
Yeah.
Is that Fleet? No. All right, yep, I'll just find it. So mine's a little bit different to what's on there. Here we go, I've got it in front of me now. So 12.4, would someone like to move that motion for the local disaster management plan?
Yeah, I'll move, Madam Mayor. Council approve the updated local disaster management plan. Is it?
Yeah, seconder for that.
Seconded, Fortune.
Thank you, councillor Fortune. Councillor Stratton, would you like to speak on behalf?
Just background on it. Managing the natural disaster events is achieved through the development of local disaster management plans. This local disaster management plan sets out council's strategies and practices towards enhancing our community's preparedness for the managing and consequences of a disaster. It's also provided information on the links to local disaster management group, individuals, advisors, voluntary organisations and community organisations that are integral to the execution of our disaster management strategy. The preparation of this local disaster management plan has been undertaken in accordance with the Disaster Management Act 2003 and Disaster Management Regulation 2014 to provide for effective disaster management in the local government area. The current LDMP was created in June 2013, updated in 2014, 2016 and 2020, and attached LDMP updated in August 2021.
Thank you. Any other comments on this one? Okay, all those in favour? And that is carried. I'm going to make sure, is the next one the regional roads plan? No. Alright, so we're into confidential? Okay, that's great. Yep. Alright, so we are now, item 13 was notice of motion, which is nil, so we'll now adjourn and, for a brief break, and then we'll recommence in confidential business. Thank you, everyone in the All right, could I get someone to move the motion that council considers the following confidential reports in a meeting close to the public in accordance with section 254J of the Local Government Regulation 2012?
Move it.
Oh, sorry, I didn't turn the page, which is item 14.1, request for waiver of rates and charges due to financial hardship assessment, 04337 00005 000. 14.2, design and construction of material recoveries facility. 14.3, appointment of preferred tender for the supply of an ERP system. 14.4, proposal to use council reserve land for trial growth of Spinifex number plans. 14.5, audit and risk management committee meeting minutes dated 13th of December 2021, unconfirmed. Would someone like to move that motion?
Move.
And can I
Sorry, through the chair, I've only got down to 14.4 on my,
It's in the supplementary report.
in supplementary, right?
Yeah, that was the problem I was having, councillor Fortune, just they weren't married up. So, can I get a seconder for that motion? Do we have a mover?
The mover is Paul.
Paul?
Councillor Stratton. To move into confidential.
Yes.
Thank you. All those in favour? Thank you. Okay. Okay, can I get a councillor to move the motion that council moves out of closed business into open?
Move, Fortune.
Thank you, councillor Fortune. A seconder?
Second.
Thank you, councillor Stretton. All those in favour? And that's carried. This takes us to item 14.1, request for waiver of rates and charges due to financial hardship assessment 04337 00005 000. Would someone like to read out that motion?
I'll move for the chair that council approve the concession to waiver outstanding rates and charges, including water consumption and interest charges under section 119, 120, 1C and 121A of the Local Government Regulation 2012, and that this concession is applied under section 122, 1A for property assessment 04337 00005 000 due to financial hardship, and that council further approve a concession to waiver future rates and charges, including water consumption charges that are yet to be issued for the remainder of the 21-22 financial period under section 119, 120, 1C and 121A of the Local Government Regulation 2012, and that this concession is applied under section 122(1)A for property assessment 04337 00005 000.
Thank you, councillor Fortune. Can I get a seconder for that motion?
Second, Stratton.
Thank you, councillor all those in favour? And that's carried. It takes us to item 14.2, which is the design and construction of the material recovery facility. Would someone like to move that motion?
Yeah, thanks, Madam Mayor. Recommendations there, council award the contract 2021-08-IS to RDT Engineering Pty Ltd for $5,775,414,067. Is that right, David? GST exclusive.
Thank you, councillor Stretton.
Seconded, Fortune.
Thank you, councillor Fortune. All those in favour? And that's carried. That takes us to item 14.3, which is the appointment of preferred tender for the supplier of an ERP system. Would someone like to move that motion?
I'll move the recommendation that council award the tender to Civica Proprietary Limited as the preferred service provider in response to RFT 2021-02 CFS ERP, supply of a fully integrated enterprise software solution, and delegate to the Chief Executive Officer the authority to finalise contractual arrangements based on the Queensland Information Technology Contract, QITC, framework, and within budget constraints.
Thank you, councillor Fortune. Can I get a seconder for that motion?
Tully.
Thank you, councillor Tully. All those in favour? And that's carried. Item 14.4, proposal to use the proposal to use council reserve land for the trial growth of spinifex and other plants. Would someone like to move that motion?
You can do it, mate.
Yeah, I'll remove that, Madam Mayor. The council advised the Injulinji Darahami Aboriginal Corporation that council will be advertising the land described as Lot 22 on SP 247873 for tender, with the successful tenderer being offered a trustee lease for the term of 10 years for the purpose of grazing. The weighting criteria will include, but not be limited to, that the successful tenderer should not already hold an interest in council reserve land and should only be a permanent resident of Camberwell.
Through the chair, I'll second that.
Thank you,
Fortune.
councillor Fortune. All those in favour? And that's carried. Okay, so that takes us to item 14.5. Yep. And that's it. Did I miss one? Yep. So
Yep.
that's in your supplementary agenda, which is the Audit and Risk Management Committee meeting minutes dated the 13th of December 2021, unconfirmed. Would someone like to move that motion?
I'll move the recommendation that council receives and accepts the unconfirmed Audit and Risk Management Committee meeting minutes dated 13th of December 2021 as presented.
Thank you, councillor Fortune. Would someone like to second that motion?
I'll
I'll
sec-
second.
Thanks, Deputy Mayor. All those in favour? And that's carried. Okay, so that brings us to the conclusion of the ordinary meeting. The time is now 11 a.m. and I now declare the meeting closed. Thanks very much, everybody, for your participation. And as we're closing soon for Christmas, wish everyone a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year, and stay safe.
Sorry, can I keep the councillors online just for 5